So yesterday I was watching a Christmas movie on TV, and it was based in New York. And basically, I was watching it with my family, with my wife and Silas, and you know, I was telling Silas that, look, that's New York. Maybe one day we can go see it. And then kind of forgetting about the illness a little bit. But then, immediately remembering it, it's just kind of like a little bit of uncertainty. But, it's good that I think that I'm thinking about the future a little bit more in that there is one. And, I truly do believe I'm going to beat this, and, that everything will go back to normal at some point, whenever that is. But it was kind of like a bittersweet type of moment where it's kind of exciting and kind of fun to, talk to Silas about the future, and, showing him something that I've seen before, but something that, I think he'd enjoy. And then, kind of the little bit of uncertainty setting in. But, in reality, tomorrow's never promised. So whether I have this disease or not, um, there's no guarantees that the future is promised, right? And when you think about it, the past has already happened. The future isn't promised, and right now is called the present because it's a gift. I know that's a common saying, but it's good to treat each day like it could be your last. Not that you should mourn it or give yourself anxiety over it or stress over it, but like to live it with intent in a way that, if it were, or if you found out something that, you know, like you have a disease or something like that, that you wouldn't regret the decisions that you've made in life or how you've lived your life, right? So I think the reflection was really just, remember the gift of the present. In terms of my health, I think yesterday was having a bit of trouble sleeping again. I think the what I'm reading is that round rounds 3 and rounds 4 are typically a bit tougher because the liver is going to be as big as it's ever going to be before starting to shrink a bit. And I'm definitely feeling that now, along with the symptoms that are coming with it. Because as the liver is expanding, it's pushing against my diaphragm, so it's a little bit harder to breathe. And then as it's expanding, it also pushes downward, making it a little bit harder to be mobile, whether it's like bending over to pick anything up or stuff like that. You basically gotta squat and lift with your legs, which is probably the healthier way to do it. But it basically makes it so that you have to sit pretty straight up or lean on your left side to alleviate as much of the pressure as possible to be able to be comfortable. I think that it feels larger than it's ever been, and the pressure is higher than it's ever been. Um, and also, the breathing has been a little bit tougher. Well, it's probably the toughest it's ever been as well. So it makes sense that the nuclear medicine doctor, it has concerns about going beyond the fourth round. And noticing the inflammation, it makes it also, I guess, yeah, probably not the best idea to do another round of RFA, because as we ablate the pancreas, the liver still has to process the cancerous cells or the dead cancer cells, and it also causes inflammation indirectly in that way. So I think the conversations that I've had with both the oncologist and the nuclear medicine doctor have both been kind of pointing in that direction that, basically my body needs a rest. Mentally, I think I can still push through, but it's getting more and more uncomfortable. And if it gets any worse, I think it's going to start becoming painful or close to intolerable. So just need to, I think, take heed of the warning and kind of slow down a bit potentially. So in terms of next steps, I have a MRI tomorrow. Because when the blood work came back, although the liver function numbers are okay, the enzyme numbers increased, which means that there's additional stress on the liver, and also the cancer marker numbers increase. Now, cancer like CA19-9 numbers aren't very good for neuroendocrine tumors, but we want to do the MRI just to be sure that there's nothing else going on and that further progression isn't actually happening. So once we confirm that, then we'll know, what next steps will be. We will definitely do the January last round of PRRT, but beyond that, the question is whether or not the liver starts to shrink on its own, or if we would need to switch to another modality of treatment to be able to shrink the liver more so that I can have a better quality of life. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So still fighting hard every day, still choosing joy every day. Thank you very much for all the comments and words of encouragement, and for all the new people, welcome to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.